Hello.
You're already done the call to order.
Excellent.
So I guess do you want to start with the year-end transfer items?
Oh, what else? What else? What else? I can't imagine anything more exciting.
We have been, waiting with bated breath to do these.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, with worms and such, bated breath. Yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
So Stan, if you're ready for a motion to approve Julie's minutes for May, I'll make it.
Of course I'm ready. Now that I'm here, yeah, I'm definitely ready.
All right.
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. All those in favor, Stan, aye.
Mary, I.
Julie, I.
Scott, aye.
Thank you.
So folks, there's a balance of $85,500 in the reserve fund at this point. To start you off here.
Yeah, all right, ready. I only need half,
Um,
and I'm willing to share.
your choice, who you'd like to start with. We've got both chiefs here. So they each have a small, well, they each have a reserve fund transfer request in.
Who's on the top of the pile, Margaret?
The top of the pile is actually police wages, part-time.
Then there you
And
go.
yeah,
And that's how we're gonna start.
and this would be a reserve fund transfer. You got paperwork, I think, for both a reserve fund transfer
Yeah.
and an departmental transfer. You're gonna go with this will be the reserve fund transfer request. Go ahead, chief.
All right, chief, what do you got?
So with the Bridge Academy put upon us as an unfunded state mandate, obviously our budget was made a year before the mandate came through. So we are a few hundred hours shy in the budget of paying our part-time officers. However, we do have plenty of money in our full-time account to transfer over to finish off paying the part-time officers for Bridge Academy.
So is this the transfer or is this the reserve fund or is this internal?
This is gonna be the reserve fund. We're gonna go with the reserve fund transfer because the board's not meeting until next Monday. And we don't want the accounts to be in a deficit. So
Okay.
we'll go with the reserve fund transfer on this and we'll scratch the interdepartmental
Gotcha.
transfer.
Okay,
So this kind of come from the reserve fund, I guess.
all righty.
But there's be plenty of money left over in the full-time wages.
Okay, and I'm sorry, how much was it again?
I believe, I don't have the paperwork in front of me, 3,600, 3,606.
$3,606.
3,606. That has a little added buffer because obviously our fiscal year hasn't ended, nor have our time off requests or shift changes. So it gives me about a 40-hour buffer for any incidentals.
Alrighty, do I have a motion or is anything further, chief, or is that pretty straightforward?
That's
Yeah.
about it.
Can I have a motion?
So I move that we approve the police department request for reserve fund transfer in the amount of $3,606.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? Pretty straightforward. Hearing none, roll call vote, Stan, aye.
Mary, I.
Guy.
Scott, aye.
All right, chief, you're all set.
Thank you very much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you.
And next up is fire department.
Welcome, Chief Clark.
This one is, I only have the paperwork on an interdepartmental transfer here. So chief,
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be changed from an interdepartmental. That was this discussion I had with June to do that.
Mhm.
Take the money from remaining in our part-time account and move it over into expenses. We had kind of a lot of hits this year on vehicles that needed work done. The biggest one, I think, was just around 5,000 to replace a turbo in the backup ambulance. The ladder truck, the stabilization system at the yearly test was found to be loose. We had to send that out and get it all torqued to a certain amount. So that was top shelf. And just general discussion on that. And one of the things that was kind of surprising is that our ALS intercept fees this year are going to be just shy of $40,000 to do that. So it's like, that's been busy, and it's a different than the maintenance account, but it added up into that. So in my discussions with June, she said an interdepartmental transfer unless that changes somehow at the TA's level. And it was 17,000 and some change. It's a lot of money. I think this is and I was telling June, 11 years of doing budgets, this is the first time I've ever had to go through this exercise. So it's like, but everything's in good shape now. With the vehicles, pumps, especially, we spent more than they usually have on maintenance to get things up. As everyone knows, there's no hydrants in Berlin, so we need to have the pumps at top shelf to move water from a draft. And they're there now and in good shape. So it's like we had to do some repairs with those. And that's kind of like a synopsis of our year with the repairs and maintenance budget.
Well, not sure that it matters to you because I think we're going to need to do a reserve fund transfer. But was this money, was it available in one of your other accounts, or with June when you spoke with June, or was it going to be another department? I forget how these work too.
I'm not sure where you want to go from. If it's that's the decision that you'll make. But the interdepartmental, my understanding is I can take it from my part-time personnel account over into my expenses, and that was my discussion with June.
So there was enough money in there to do it.
Yes, sir.
The balance at the time of this writing, though, in part-time wages was $72,655.96. So taking
Yeah.
17,277 should be fine.
Was there any
So, I
reason
mean, the
why
net-
the
Oh, sorry,
balance
Scott.
was so high? I was just curious why the part-time
part-time
wages are so high. I mean, remaining. Was there
Well, I
other
think
things
what-
that benefited us, or what?
I think one of the trends we're seeing, you're seeing the ability of the per diem program to handle a higher majority of the calls than it did in the past. The per diems are handling all the first medicals unless it's something serious, and a lot of the first engine calls. So there's less recall on the call department. And there's also been a lot less manpower available during the day when during responses. So where I used to see, when I first started, there was 4, 5, 6 names. There might not be any on an incident response timesheet now. So it's like, it's kind of like people don't have the time to put in anymore as much. There's a lot of, everyone's still pretty active, but I don't think the ability to respond is as high as it maybe once was. But I've only watched the system for 3 years, so it's kind of like a little bit of a guess on my part, looking at what I see and where I came from and experience the same thing. So it is what it is.
Okay. Thanks.
I hope that answered your question.
Yes.
Well, it actually kind of raised a question with me though, Chief, is that it seems like if there was more per diem, wouldn't we have spent more, right? Because we only spend that as needed.
Well, the per diems are a set shift, one during the day from 06 to 1800, and then 2 at night, 1800 to 06 in the morning. So they're covering a lot of the calls that used to, when you put out a call, you get 4 or 5 people in. They just go and do it now because they're in the house and like a duty shift, so to speak. So
Oh,
it's
so
like,
so it's actually almost kind of a savings in the sense that we don't have to have as many respond, or we just don't end up having as many respond.
if I had to lie, again, I've only been watching it for 3 years.
Yeah.
I would say that the people are there, and when they know they need to respond, they come out, but they let the per diem program and the career people during the day handle the calls that they can handle. It's
Yeah.
kind of like the organization is kind of like making that transition, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well, I just think it's actually kind of I think it's actually kind of a economization of the system a little bit. It's kind of almost an in between from total volunteer to total staff. This per diem sounds like it's kind of a win-win, and that we're not having to have as many people respond, and therefore we're not. I guess it's that we weren't paying. We're not paying for as much then, right? Because how did you budget this? You budgeted assuming there would be a certain number of per diem call, like, because how do you figure that, the per diem versus?
I budget it per diem shift, okay? And there's two things. It's the per diems, I got it broken out in your part-time money that you give to us. The per diems are broken out that one shift every day, 7 shifts a week times the 52.2 day in the week there, and then
Yeah.
2 at night. So I just budget that. I know what the cost is. It's a hard number. I can figure it out. And,
Okay.
and they just offset the call people from coming in as much anymore, where they used to have to come in. But we've had some serious calls and we've had good turnouts. So the people are there. It's not that they're not there. They just don't have, they can stay home and relax a little bit more than running out for the minor calls. I shouldn't say minor. They're all important, but it's like they can pick and choose what they go to.
Right, but so both of those categories of calls are rolled up into this one line item expense of variable, or what I call it variable, but what was the account that had a 70-something thousand dollar balance? That's part-time
72,
wages.
I think Margaret said.
Part-time, yeah, part-time,
Right, so they're
77,
both
72,000.
so they're each a component to part-time wages.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, so there was definitely a savings in part-time wages this year. I don't know if it was
Yeah.
also maybe reduced fire calls. Could it have been something else?
Well, that's what
Well, I
I was
think that-
kind of wondering. Yeah.
I think the COVID stuff was quiet. We went at the beginning of this fiscal year, we went through the end of the COVID period. I shouldn't say the end. When it started to quiet.
A reduced amount anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a reduced amount of responses, and it's like less people were out, the highway was quieter, all those things, associated things. So it's like, but I think now we're seeing a little bit, we're starting to see them go back up to those pre-COVID numbers that we had, even maybe a little bit more in the past month and a half.
Yeah.
Starting to see it.
Go ahead,
climb.
Ray.
Yeah, Stan, just a question to help my understanding in this part of the conversation. So are the per diem funds coming out of part-time wages? So it's coming out of that same account?
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's why, yeah, so now I understand the line of questioning.
You
Yeah,
got it, Mary.
yeah, okay, all right, so, and we had plenty of money there, and so what we need to do with.
Yeah. And
That
even
makes
if we're doing this as a reserve fund, okay, so the reserve fund is being depleted, but what that just gets returned to free cash, just like the unspent funds, and so it's really
Yep.
immaterial. It would only be an issue if we were short on reserve fund, which we're not. So and Margaret, we kind of have to do it this way you're saying, because we don't have a. don't
Yeah,
have a
you didn't
meeting.
have a reserve fund form filled out for this particular item, so it's an interdepartmental transfer on this one.
Oh, so this still is. Okay, I thought there was a reason that the other one couldn't be interdepartmental.
Yeah, I don't know, I saw it and I saw that 2 things were filled out. I wasn't sure. Oh, I know why.
It came
It's
in late.
because money was going into wages and we cannot hold up wages. This money is going into an expense line. So that's the difference, I think. If I'm
Okay.
like playing June here.
And again, it's immaterial to me really, because it's all
You're
just going to just mean a slight reduction in free cash, and whichever one it comes out of is not a big deal.
You're right on that.
You ready for a motion, Stan?
I certainly am, unless anyone else has any questions, which we can address if there's any discussion. So yes, feel free.
So I move that we transfer the requested amount of $17,277 from the fire EMS part-time wages into the fire EMS expenses accounts to cover the requested expenses.
Second.
Yeah, and the only other thing I would say about that is that these are the kind of things that the reserve fund and/or transfers are, and I think they're appropriate here at the end of the year when we talk about, wouldn't want to do these in December. I mean, we've clearly depleted this budget, but it's not like we're just asking for extra money because we haven't tried to economize or whatever. It's the end of the year, and And that's where we're at. So any further, anyone else? All right. Hearing, seeing none, roll call vote, Stan, aye.
Mary, I.
Julie, I.
Scott, I.
There you have it. All right, Chief,
All
thank you.
right.
Thank you, people, very much.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Good night, Chief.
Yeah,
Have
good
a
night,
good rest of
everybody.
your summer,
Have a
guys.
nice night.
Thank you.
Right.
All righty.
Next is the reserve fund transfer request for accounting wages part-time. So I think this is fairly self-explanatory, but there was the market rate adjustment that started January 1. And their highway needed additional help during a large portion of this fiscal year. And so it has left a shortfall of $1,275 in the accounting wages part-time line. If the finance committee approves this, the remaining balance in the reserve fund will be $79,563.
All righty, seems pretty straightforward.
So that number again was 1,275, right?
This is 1,275.
Okay.
Bringing the reserve fund balance down to 79,563 after the two votes on reserve fund.
Right. So do we have a motion?
Yep, I move that we approve the requested transfer of $1,275 from the reserve fund into the accountant wages part-time to cover this this work that was done.
Second that.
I gotta say, Mary, you're a real mover and shaker tonight.
Okay, just in case I have a problem, my battery is low. I'm gonna go check for my cord, but in case I drop off, at least yours.
We
Four
have
of
a
us here.
quorum. We have a
Yep,
quorum.
we do have a
Yes,
quorum.
thank you,
Oh,
guys.
it's
Thank you.
Dan finally here. Yep. Or I said, yeah. All right, anything further? All right, hearing and seeing none, roll call vote, Stan, aye.
Mary, I.
Julie, I.
Scott, I.
Battery holds, all right.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Just
And
one more.
Oh, boy.
One last one, $55 from the reserve fund. And this is, let's see. This is to cover the market rate adjustment that was, that took place on January 1, 2022. And the amount needed of $55 is to pay the remaining 34 and a half hours for the year, or to cover the remaining 34 and a half
We
hours.
clearly couldn't afford this market rate adjustment.
know.
Look at the hole we're in.
$55.
Oh,
Okay, so that brings,
Telling you.
this will bring the reserve fund balance down to 78,343.
all righty, we have a motion for this $55.
I move that we
Miss
approve.
Mover and Shaker, yeah.
Yeah, I move that we approve the transfer from the reserve fund of $55 into the Board of Health wages part-time for the covering the market rate adjustment from January.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion for $55? All right, hearing and seeing none, roll call vote, Stan, aye.
Mary, I.
Yeah, I.
Scott, I.
And the battery still holds.
Yes,
Takes
I
care of
made
it,
it.
folks. Thank you so
All
much.
All right,
You.
do we have any other business for this committee before we adjourn?
Do we need
approve
minutes?
We have to approve these minutes.
Oh, okay,
So,
So-
how do you want me to do this? Do you want me to copy this and email it to you, or try to get it to? Yeah, I'm typing on one computer. I think I can bring it the file on this
I was
computer.
gonna say, I think if you email them, we can approve them, can't we?
Yep. Or you could share a screen.
Well, I'm going to try to share screen. The thing is, I have just bear with me because I have one computer open for handling the Zoom,
Oh, okay.
and another one for typing.
We're almost done, Dave.
If you lose me, I won't try to log back in.
Right.
Just as long as somebody else doesn't get, as their power go down too.
Okay. Let me- There we go.
Right.
Okay. So this is today's minutes.
So, Julie, we need the two chiefs. They were present. Visitors,
Oh.
guests, right?
Great, thank you.
Yep.
How do you spell? It's Eric, S-C-H.
AR.
CHRTNER, Shartner.
Okay. Totally blanked out, I'm sorry. Can you spell the other one for me, please?
Ken Clark, you can spell that.
Okay, I've had a very long day, I'm sorry.
So I think she's going, are you going back to give Eric a title or were you, oh, there you go.
Here we go, so. And I went to get coffee on my way home and the coffee shop was closed, so I am a bit.
Oh,
Oh, no.
I am
That's
like, yeah,
disappointing.
I am like working on nothing. Okay,
one of those days.
is this the correct with police chief Eric Shartner and fire chief?
Fire and EMS chief, Ken Clark.
Oh, yeah.
Fire,
And the MS.
fire and EMS chief. And he goes by Ken, not Kenneth, right?
Right.
Okay.
I think his name is actually Paul, isn't it? First
It
name?
is Paul
There you
Kenneth
go.
Clark. Yes.
Oh, okay, that's okay. I don't feel so
No,
okay.
you haven't set the forest on fire like I have, so I got to know him.
Oh,
Oh, Mary, what are we gonna do with you?
so,
I don't know. Don't give me any matches, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, clearly, yeah,
oh
certainly
shoot,
not any tolerance, yeah.
I lost. Oh, when I started typing, I typed in the wrong area, so I have to rewrite this.
Good.
To approve.
Well, your cursor's still up by chief, I think, isn't it? Or is the screen share just get delayed? There you go.
This is where I screwed up. Yeah, I told you, coffee. I usually request.
$55. Yep. Reserve fund. To Board of Health wages part-time. To cover market rate adjustments, same thing.
Looks great.
Okay.
All right,
So-
just to be consistent, I'll move that we adjourn. How's that?
Well, before we move to adjourn, we have to move to approve the minute.
We have to, yeah, we haven't approved these yet.
The chicken and egg situation. This is amazing.
I
little bit.
know.
How are we going to do this?
I'm writing the future here right now.
I think that you could maybe send a separate email, Julie, that says that we voted on June 22nd by whatever the vote is to approve the minutes.
For this meeting, yes.
Yeah. And then, so it's in the email, the approval's in the email, and the adjournment then can be here.
Okay, so first we have to move to approve the minutes though.
Yep. So moved. I moved that we approve the June 22nd minutes as shown on the screen that's shared.
And adjourn.
And I move that we adjourn.
Here you go.
We can't,
Adjourn.
well,
Yeah.
we did, who seconds the minutes?
Oh, okay.
Do we lose Scott? I think you have
I
to
think
say.
so. So Julie, you can second.
Okay, Julie seconds the minutes.
Any further discussion on the minutes?
Nope.
Roll call vote then. Stan, aye.
Mary, I.
Julie, I.
All right.
So I'll put the approval in the email, right? That's
Yep.
how we're doing this?
Yep.
Okay, and I will send this out to you guys and to June.
Right.
Now you may do your lovely end of service.
Okay, so I move that we adjourn the meeting and the time is 8:03.
8:03.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Again,
Thank
apologize
you.
for being late.
Thank you all.
We would have been out by 8 if I'd been on time.
Well, we would have been all done last week if I had been on time, Stan, so, you know.
Oh.
Well, everyone, have a nice few weeks. Hopefully there won't be much more to do on July 13th.
Yes,
Yes,
and you as
hopefully
well,
not.
Margaret.
All right,
Yes, you
thank
as well,
you.
Margaret.
I'll see you
All right,
soon. Okay,
right, take care.
bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.